Hey everybody, Steve here once again at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and today I just happened to walk by the gravesite or crypt of a famous actress who I was familiar with the name, but I really wasn't real familiar. I couldn't remember the story about how she died. So I looked her up, I did a little bit of research, and thought I would share the story with you of her life and tragic, untimely death, in case you aren't already familiar with her and haven't already heard the story. So Renee Adoree, or Renee Adoree, I'm not sure how she pronounced her name, but I would guess it's Renee Adoree. I mean, that sounds like a very Hollywood name, doesn't it? Her birth name was Amelia Louisa Victoria Reeves. So Renee Adoree is definitely a lot more catchy, isn't it? She was born on September 30th, 1898, in Lille, France, and died on October 5th, 1933, in Tahunga, California, which is in the San Fernando Valley. She was a French actress and a Hollywood silent film star in the 1920s, and she died from tuberculosis. Sadly, that was very common back in the day. Back at the turn of the century, when she died, it was not uncommon to die from tuberculosis. She became famous for her role, Melisande, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, in the 1925 movie, The Big Parade, which ended up becoming MGM's highest-grossing silent film. She appeared in 9 films with Gilbert, 4 films with Ramon Navarro, who also died very tragically. She also acted with Lon Chaney. As some of you may remember, she's also famous for her nude swimming scene in the 1928 movie, The Mating Call. She also has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And some of the other famous people who also died of tuberculosis were Eleanor Roosevelt, Vivian Leigh, George Orwell, Jane Austen, Andrew Jackson, Franz Kafka, Henry David Thoreau, Frederick Chopin, Stephen Crane, and Emily Bronte. And those are just a few of the very famous people who died from this awful, now preventable disease. If any of you happen to know more about her story and her life and would like to share it with us here in the comments section, please do so. It's interesting to think just how famous she was at the time and the things that she's remembered for, and that her life was just cut so short, and now a little over 90 years since she died. I would guess most people don't know who she is. She's nearly forgotten. Time marches on, and fame is fleeting, as they say. But it's nice to keep the memories alive of some of the people that are no longer with us. So I wanted to share her story with you for those of you who haven't heard of her and didn't know her story. So as always, thanks for joining me today. And until our next trip to the cemetery together, thanks for sharing the memories, everybody.